So I got a user question about how to make continuous surfaces for divided surfaces, and I can go through a quick tutorial for this. I have some images also on the blog site. But basically I've got here 3 arc lines, and I'm going to make them into one continuous surface. Although because the way the Revit makes these surfaces, it's actually not really a continuous surface, it's 3 surfaces because they have a tangential relationship. And I'm going to divide them. 1, 2, 3. You can see that my original divided surface, which is a 12 by 12 grid on each one, this one has 12 by 12 grid, 12 by 12, 12 by 12. These two look kind of about balanced, but this one is clearly 12 by 12 is a lot smaller. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pattern these and just sort of show you a couple of the issues that come up and some of the solutions for it. I'm going to do a really big pattern, so the octagon is breaking up the surface into a lot of individual pieces. So if you turn on the grid lines, or the surface grid lines, you can see that each one of them is made up of 3 cells of the underlying grid to make that one octagon. So if I turn that back off, you see that basically we have some issues here where we need to make these a bit more balanced with this one. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to see sort of what the size of this cell is. I'm going to change the number of divisions from fixed number to fixed distance, and I can see that it's almost 5.5 feet. So I'm actually going to make each one of these things a nice even number, or a relatively even number. I'm going to change this to maximum spacing, and just to sort of regularize what's going on here, I'm going to say the maximum spacing is going to be 5'6", and it's actually not going to change anything for this because these guys were pretty close to 5'6" already. But I'm going to do that also for the other ones, just so I can start off and know that all of my cells are pretty much the same size. So I'm going to go maximum spacing and 5.5 feet. And so this one's okay because it was pretty much close enough to 5.5 feet already that I have a pretty smooth transition here. I've got the cells make an even pattern going across, but over here it becomes more of an issue. You can see that my pattern has sort of broken down. But what I can do to fix that is I can select this guy, and a couple of the properties for the divided surface down here, you can see indent. I'm going to manipulate my indent in order to get my pattern to line up. Now what indent does is it moves the pattern of the octagon in relationship to the underlying divided surface. So if I select that again and I do indent 1, you can see it moves over 1. And if I do indent 2, it moves over another increment. And so I'm just trying to find where I actually get some balance here. And there, at indent 3, I now have a continuous pattern. So that just moved it over 1, 2, 3. I think I could probably also do it if I did an indent of, does it let me do negatives? Yeah, -1 indent would be the same thing. Now if I turn off my surface, you can see now I've got a continuous pattern across the whole surface. Now you can go and you can add components. You are still going to have breaks here, but there's ways that you can deal with that also by, if you go in here and change each one of these guys, you can change this one to, let me see if this is going to work. I haven't tried this out yet. If I change this to overhanging, and I change this one and this one to empty, well, it doesn't really work great. But so forget about that part. I'll cover that part in another video. But as far as patterning and making a smooth pattern, this is the way to go.